So let's move to end-use monitoring. When we want to do this type of intervention, the question that we should ask is first, do these people have connectivity, a channel open with us? Sometimes in the developed world, this is by means of a shared device. If they are not motivated, as I mentioned before, we should think about incentives for them to report. But then we have to be very careful that this reporting is a true reporting and not a false reporting just to get something out of us. If they are motivated, we can use SMS, but SMS is only good if people is literate and they speak English. If it's not, something that it can be done is this interactive voice response that we are so used to when we call our credit card and then they said, if you want to make a payment, press 1, if you want to do whatever. This is not immediately accessible for them, but it's a lot easier and can be done in the local language. If they have no device, no connectivity, we must do a survey. If we do a survey, if connectivity is available, they can send data immediately. If it's not, they will record the data and send it later. So as an example for end-use monitoring, I'm concentrating in an intervention made by AED, Netmark. Netmark is an NGO that is dedicated to promote the use of bed nets. They do this using funds of USAID. And what they did is to start looking to do market research. They send the surveyors with a PDA, with a template, and then they started asking people, do you use a bed net? If you don't use it, why is that? It's too expensive, it is too hot to sleep underneath, it is just that you don't like the color and you think it's no good in your home. And then they are using this data for the procurement of the bed nets in the future. This is something really important and is so little that it has been done in the humanitarian field that we should be concentrating into a lot more often. Finally, we are going to talk about the new technologies applied to emergency response. Here there is no decision tree. And there is no decision tree because the situation varies enormously from one situation to another. It is very different an intervention after a natural disaster in which there is no infrastructure and the first thing that has to be implemented is a channel of communication, to the man-made disasters in which there is something like what I'm going to present here, a xenophobia crisis, and then infrastructures are there. It's just that they are not open to everyone. So in this case, it's a small NGO called Chauco. They, in a manner similar to what we have seen Ushahidi this morning, they gather information from the crowds, but it's a little different. What they did is they posted in their webpage at the beginning of the xenophobia crisis in South Africa, they posted a standardized assessment of what the communities need because of the migration of people. 33 responses were received in the first 2 days. Another 60 responses were received in the next 4 days. This allowed them to put 9 additional clinics where they were needed to serve the community needs. And this is a very interesting mixture of grassroots and top-down intervention in which the NGO just put what was useful for them, and it was up to the people to use it and report and then do the intervention a success. So last but not least, we have been talking a lot about how to gather data. Then we have to think, what will we do with the data once we have it? This is a nice sketch that I like, in which we have at the right-hand side the real world, and then we have all the process until we go and action again in the left-hand side. So down there we have data, how we gather it, and this is what mostly we have been discussing so far. Then to transform data and information, we have to do analysis. And this is not trivial. For instance, with the Ushahidi example, getting 6,000 SMS make it difficult to discriminate what is real important data and what is not. Once we have this information, we have to link that with our knowledge and our past experience before designing the new intervention. Let's say that we have successfully done all of these steps. And now we have this information that, again, remember this slide about the Kenya supply chain that we have to share with so many organizations. So first is a matter of making it visually informative. This, along the supply chain, people need different kinds of information. So this has to be customized for every link in the supply. And obviously, because we are here talking about mobile technologies, this has to be make it accessible from a mobile platform. And then we have to integrate all this data with the ERP system of all these organizations so that this is linked with all the other financial and operations that our organization should have to take into account. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer any questions.